With Wakanda Forever coming out shortly, I thought it would be fun to take a look at the posters released so far and break them down. Are these superhero posters gonna buck the trend of recent ones we've had, or is it gonna be business as usual? Let's begin. And right out of the gates, we kind of do have business as usual. Floating heads. It's the MCU staple when it comes to movie posters. I will say though, there is something interesting going on here. We have a mirror image. We have a reflection in the pool below, but the faces staring back are not the ones they're familiar with when they wake up in the morning and look in the mirror. No, in fact, these are an enemy tribe coming for them. And that leader you see down there, Captain Jack Sparrow. Honestly, that's the first thing I thought when I looked at this poster. It's actually Namor. And this poster is pretty, it's punchy, it's getting the job done, but it's not set in the world ablaze. The other thing that immediately hits me is the subdued color palette. Black Panther is very punchy, it's very vibrant. It tells the audience this is maybe a more serious picture than even the first one was. Sadly, Chadwick Boseman's not alive to reprise his role as Black Panther. The trailers have made it a mystery as to who's gonna take over, but I think this poster's saying it pretty loud and clear. Shuri's front and center, doing the pose, and we have a black cat behind her. A more sleek, sexy, dare I say, costume? This is the MCU, so sexy's definitely not on the table, but it's a female costume. And I think it's kind of obvious Shuri's gonna be the one inside of it. Small little personal grievance, when I look at this poster and I see that big guy on the left, can't remember his name, his staff almost looks like a person. Because I'm following this line of characters, so naturally they're getting smaller as it progresses. I was assuming that was a character over there, but that's just a staff. Not a big deal, just something that kind of threw me off. The two other big differences are the architecture. We got buildings in the background, the nice beautiful Wakanda landscape, and then below, Atlantis, I don't know, pyramid structures, something's going on down there. It's definitely different technology. It's telling the audience these are very different tribes that are gonna be clashing, and it's probably gonna be quite a sight. Anyway, nothing really negative about this, nothing super positive either. It looks like Wakanda is gonna be facing off against the Na'vi from Avatar, and I'm there for it. Let's move on. You know, I thought this movie was called Wakanda Forever, but it's actually Black Panther Wakanda Forever. They're really driving home the Wakanda Forever portion though, I think because Black Panther's not gonna be a key figure here. I mean, obviously the death of the character will be prominent, but I think it's more to do with the people of Wakanda than so much the symbol of Black Panther. I think there's gonna be very limited screen time, and the poster's kind of telling me that as well. The second poster we're looking at is also very symmetrically pleasing. Everything's in place, everything's lining up and focusing you on the center. We have a couple panther heads in the corner, drawing your focus down towards the center, and then there's this mysterious animal. I would assume it's part of this other tribe staring right at you. Small personal grievance for me here. Nakia has her rings of power in the middle, making these swooshing loops, because they are in fact loops or hoops or scoops of floops. They're not so much drawing me in as intended, but they're in fact distracting me from everything else going on. The silver's kind of popping, it's kind of taking my eyes off the prize, which is supposed to be the Wakanda Forever title, followed by that November 11th release. Most of the Marvel posters are photoshopped to high hell and back. This one has a bit of an animated flair to it, a little bit of illustration in there because of the water and the light sources flying in and some of the beautiful decor wrapped around the frame of this thing. It does give it more of a hand-drawn look, which I always appreciate. It looks like time and energy went into this outside of just slapping some floating heads on and calling it a day. This really works for me. It's got a ton of negative space, really drawing you into the shape of the helmet and pulls you into that tiny little forever down below. Now, personally, the forever could have been a little bit larger to have a little bit more impact, but because of all the empty space, you're forced to look there. What I really love about this poster is the use of light and how it makes the shape for you. Your eyes fill in the blanks. My real job as a graphic web designer puts me in front of a lot of car ads. So I work with companies like BMW and Polaris on their slingshot stuff, and it's all very glamorized. It's very high-res models, they look very beautiful, and that's what I get from this mask. It's polished, it's new, it's fresh, it's gorgeous, and it's really sleek when you look at it, isn't it? My only gripe is that Marvel Studios still has the red behind Marvel. I almost prefer if that was in black and white too, so you wouldn't put so much attention on that. Everyone knows what Marvel Studios is at this point. There's no reason to draw attention to the name. Focus on the mask, focus on the title and the release date, and you have a perfect poster in my eyes. There are some fan-made ones out there now that look way better than what the official ones end up being, and I think it's often because these big studios just don't want to budget out poster design anymore. They look at it like it's a lost art form. It's almost like 2D animation with Disney, how they basically abandoned it for 3D, and that's just depressing, honestly. So a lot of these fans are really stepping up, trying to make a name for themselves. They're doing some brilliant Photoshop designs and illustrations. Just look at the good stuff that's come out of the community. So character posters are a thing that have been going on for quite some time. I remember them when the first X-Men movie came out. Anyway, here's another set of them for Wakanda Forever. And man, they are just not trying at all anymore. Black Adam just came out with posters like 2 weeks ago, and they look identical. The framing of these characters, not just off focus a little, but almost off the page, is not pleasing. Cutting a person's eye in half, that's not fun. There's nothing interesting going on there. So what's the point of even doing it if you're not gonna even put in a tiny amount of work? I mean, as far as photos go, they're very nice, high fidelity, crisp looking pictures, but that's it. They're pictures. They're like glamour shots. There's something I'd like to see up at a cost cutters, where naturally I go for a quality haircut. But they're absolutely not something I'd put up between a Jaws and Rocky poster, I can tell you that right now. If you get your haircut at cost cutters, subscribe, because we're like the same in that way. Here's one more character poster for you, and for some reason, this one really jumps out to me. This one really pops. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I really like this one. Way more than the other character posters. I don't know what it is. There's something that really speaks to me on a personal level. Subscribe for racism. Well, those are just a few of the slew of posters that have been released so far for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. How excited are you for this movie? And do these posters do anything to pique your interest? To get you really fired up to get to theaters and watch this bad boy? Let me know in the comments below. Like the video if you had a good time. Please subscribe if you haven't. I make new movie poster breakdowns each and every week. Would love to have you join me. And if you really like this video, there's a whole playlist full of them that you can find on my channel, Adam Does Movies. So check those out, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Oh wow, thanks for sticking around. Since I still have your attention, maybe think about joining me on Patreon at patreon.com/AdamDoesMovies. It's just a way where you can say, hey Adam, I like what you're doing. Here's $1 a month, keep going. Or here's $10 a month. I mean, the choice is really up to you. I'd appreciate it either way. You can also become a YouTube Join member by hitting that Join button. I have a Discord at Adam Does Movies. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Twitter. I'm pretty much all over the place, so love to see you there.